Hi guys, this is jsno.com and I'm here with the unboxing of the OnePlus 10 Pro 5G. So we got a red box, it's time for a flagship. As you can see here, once again OnePlus worked with Hasselblad, which is a Swedish company which makes cameras for many decades. They also put a camera on the moon during the first moon landing, but now the 9th year of OnePlus is landing here. The company was made in 2013. Next year there will be 10 years, and here we are with the latest flagship. Definitely a unique camera design, even though it feels a bit inspired somehow by the iPhone 13 Pro and a bit by the Galaxy S22 on the way it hooks up to the frame. So we have here the green version of the phone. I'm going to fire it up and I'm going to tell you everything about the accessories inside the box. First things first, first impression, for a 200-gram phone, it definitely feels light. From what I understood, OnePlus tried to center the weight around this area to make it feel like it's easier or lighter than it actually is. This handset combines the latest components available, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, also a 48 megapixel camera with a new sensor, as the main cam, 50 megapixel ultrawide, but more about that later. In the box, we have the following. Okay, so first things first, we have this case here, which keeps the color choice of the back side, the version we have, sort of green, elegant green if I were to say that. And in this envelope, you should also find a metal key used to access the slots. I didn't, it probably got lost on the way. We have a prototype for testing. Anyway, we have here the, oh, sorry, this is actually where the key went, my bad. With the never settle logo here and a welcome message and some more stuff written here. As usual, OnePlus tries to send a small message towards its fans. So metal key, message, quick start guide, safety information, bunch of stickers including the Hyper Boost one, and let's see what's inside the box here. The typical red cable which goes from USB-C to USB-A. And finally, this hefty charger with the promise of 80-watt super VOOC charging and a USB-A connector. That's it, I think. There's nothing else. That's everything you get in the box. It's pretty much the standard packaging from OnePlus, and unlike other companies, they haven't given up on the charger just yet. Okay, so let's get back to the phone. It's made of glass and metal, you may have guessed it. We got Gorilla Glass 5 at the back side with an anti-smudging, anti-fingerprint, anti-grease treatment and also anti-glare, by the way. So glass at the back, an aluminum frame which is a bit shiny, and glass at the front. This time we're talking about Gorilla Glass Victus protection in this case. Now, other things we're mentioning are measurements 8.6 millimeters and a mere 200.5 grams, even though it feels much lighter. Curved on the sides for the back side, curved on the sides for the front side, and the typical mute button or alert slider is here, however you want to call it. Basically a trademark for OnePlus and why not Apple. A solid build for this handset, very easy to wield for such a large diagonal. I would even go as far as to say that it's the comfiest 6.7-inch phone I've played with recently. Speaking of which, it has a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen of the LTPO2 variety, and when you say LTPO2, you're talking about the fact it can go down to 1 Hz or up to 120 Hz. It has a 2K resolution, actually 3216 over 1440 pixels. It also provides you with, as I said before, 120 Hz refresh rate, 1 billion colors, HDR10+, and a pretty narrow set of frames. It reaches a 90% screen to body ratio. We also have always on display, which can be customized obviously, including with a canvas option, which takes your face or a selfie and turns it into a, well, sketch in this representation here. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about the innards of the phone, and I'm going to go here and talk about the processor first and foremost. It's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 4nm with the Adreno 730 GPU. Now let's see which version we have. We have the one with 12 gigs of RAM, LPDDR5 of course, and 256 gigabytes of storage, UFS 3.1. No microSD, no audio jack, as you can well see for yourself. However, we have stereo speakers, so there is this one here and a very discreet one at the top side here. Now, we also have an in-display fingerprint scanner, which I just tested right now. It's of the optical variety. And let's see what else. On the connectivity side of things, you're going to get your fill of 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, GPS, dual band, and an USB-C 3.1 port at the bottom. Galileo, BDS, GLONASS, and the usual other connectivity options are also here. I didn't forget about the battery, so let's get back to that app for the TAD. 5000 mAh, which is quite generous and doesn't increase the bulk of the phone too much. The good thing is that it charges at 80 watts via wire and also 50 watts wirelessly, which is nice to see. It also has reverse charge. Now, if we go on a white background here and also maybe access our website, you're going to see the punch hole for the selfie camera, which by the way is a 32 megapixel shooter with full HD capture and HDR support. At the back side, there's a lot to unpack. The main sensor is a 48 megapixel one. It's made by Sony IMX789. So this 48 megapixel shooter has f1.8 aperture, multi-direction autofocus and laser autofocus plus optical image stabilization. We also have a telephoto camera, 8 megapixel 3.3x optical zoom, and 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Pay attention, 150 degrees in its capture angle and a fisheye option. Hasselblad has contributed here with the color calibration, and we can do 10-bit capture with all the three cameras and even 12-bit if you activate the RAW plus mode. Now if you go here, we have a ton of options. We got your AI, which is used for scene enhancement. We got this option here, which uses the full 48 megapixels. We have the more section with movie, long exposure, tilt shift, panorama, time-lapse. There is the 150-degree thingy I mentioned before and a fisheye option. We also have a Hasselblad Pro mode. This is the one that really lets you tweak the experience and achieve those trademark Hasselblad colors. We have the RAW plus option as mentioned before. And here you can actually select 10-bit color and the HEEF format, which is actually better for editing afterwards. We have portrait, we have photo as well, we have video going all the way up to 8K. And guess what? If you shoot 4K, you can actually go ahead and shoot 4K in 120 frames per second, which is something I haven't seen ever since the Asus Zenfone 7 Pro. So it's been a while. Stabilization can be switched to ultra steady, but only in Full HD. And we also have a night mode available here, and a bunch of effects to apply, a bunch of filters which are actually inspired by Hasselblad again. Another one of the cool modes is this one called Expand. It basically creates a mode which is basically a tribute to the older Hasselblad cameras. It feels like a negative at times, like a negative of photos people used to take. Anyway, it gives a bigger impact if you're photographing old buildings. That's something I found throughout my usage. Now, as far as the software is concerned, the device resorts to Oxygen OS 12.1 applied on top of Android 12, and I was shocked to see that I can no longer access the settings from here. This is the shelf area, which is customizable and includes the weather, the information about the SIM card, steps, note-taking, and I'm pretty sure they left intact the option to find your car in the parking lot, which is one of the things people loved about OnePlus, believe it or not. Anyway, so we also have the gaming section, and we also have some special gaming options and gaming tools, notification, 4D vibration, and so much more. Also a very generous cooling area, something like 34,000 square millimeters of cooling, which is crazy if you ask me, and should be enough to play the highest end games available. There's also something called work-life balance 2.0, so you'll be able to unwind and disconnect from the phone and take a breather. Of course, there is also customization here, as you can see. You can change the interface and tweak it however you want it. You got icon packs, a lot of them. This is actually borrowed from Oppo. OnePlus and Oppo have started their integration. You can change fingerprint animation and so much more. Special features are here: quick launch, OnePlus shelf, work-life balance, which is version 2.0. You can set up the work mode, or you can also set up the relaxing mode. I'm using gestures right now to navigate, and the shelf, as I said before, can be tweaked from here. You can add new widgets, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so first contact, I'm impressed by the weight distribution. I have great expectations from the filming department. The OnePlus 9 Pro last year was the best filming phone on Android. That was my idea, and I have to say that this camera is growing on me design-wise. I'm a bit worried by the bend test I've seen online, but I will try not to bend it. So this is the OnePlus 10 Pro. The price starts from 909 euros in Europe for the 8GB RAM version. This one I have here is the one that should cost around 999 euros. That's it from us. We'll be back with a full review pretty soon. So far, the ergonomics and possibly the video capture are the best thing about it. Goodbye.